Welcome to The Lock Shop with Nielsen and Hustler, powered by Coolbet Canada.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to The Lock Shop, another trade in the National Hockey League, and it involves the Winnipeg half of The Lock Shop. So we'll certainly get into that as we work our way through the day today. If you want to chat a little bit about the EST draft that just went down, we can certainly do that as well. I see Mark or somebody in the Nasty chat was saying, Lieutenant Eric minus 500 to win the draft. Mark says, was Bieber high last night? From Lieutenant Eric this morning, he did seem to think that Bieber might have been high last night, just kind of sitting around there for a little bit. So, I mean, Bieber's not used to being in the big national spotlight like an NHL All-Star weekend draft. So it makes sense if he was a little bit nervous, I think. You can text us anytime, 780-218-9999. 780-218-9999. If you are listening on TuneIn, tell your friends about Edmonton Sports Talk on TuneIn. Of course, you can just listen at edmontonsportstalk.com. And, we'll dive into these skills contests. I know Huss kind of wanted to get into that a little bit yesterday as well. But, some big news from around the National Hockey League with obviously what's going on with this trade. Monahan. It's funny, we talked yesterday on the Lock Shop. We talked about Sean Monahan and if the Winnipeg Jets would go get him. Huss wasn't necessarily sure he would be a fit. He wasn't sure if Montreal would get a first. I kind of thought they would. I thought this morning I kind of dialed it back a bit. I thought maybe like a second and a warm body. They end up getting the first and a conditional third in like 2027 if they end up winning the Stanley Cup as well. So Obkirk is in and says Hustler is going to be coming in hot with his Monahan jersey. That's a quick turnaround right there. That would be a quick turnaround. I love it. 780-218-9999. 780-218-9999. And I love this text. This came in right at the tail end of the EST draft there of captains. This one's in. It says, Eric is like me at work, a terrible employee that does just enough to not get fired. That's not true. I mean, Rick's the absolute best. Is you out of here? Oh, I got Lieutenant Eric right there. Guys, GMs and executives need to stop giving coaches a vote of confidence. That one in from Coach Mike. Yeah, we got lots to discuss in the oil stream today for sure as well. But with stories this big around the National Hockey League, Huss and I will usually dive into that. We can obviously keep tabs on the Pebble Beach as well. Hey, but I do want to say, I don't say sorry for like a lot of picks, but I am sorry for the Celtics-Lakers last night. I thought the Celtics were actually absolutely going to roll the Lakers last night. And then you see, and 11.5 was the number we had on the Lock Shop. And then you see after that, LeBron and AD both out. And then I'm thinking, man, if these guys locked in 11.5, they're gonna be laughing. And then the Celtics come out and lay an egg against a Lakers team that was basically carried by Austin Reeves. And not only do the Celtics not cover a huge number last night, they lose to the Lakers without LeBron and AD. So, most of the time, we win bets, we lose bets. I don't feel like apologizing for many of the wrong plays, but that one I do feel like I did not see that game coming from the Lakers or the Celtics for that matter. I know the TNT panel was all over the Celtics saying this is why they are frauds and they can't win in the playoffs because you can't take care of a Lakers team that's basically, rolling Austin Reeves and D'Angelo Russell. But I was stunned. I was stunned by that. But Austin Reeves was unreal. I mean, career high from beyond the arc. He was terrific. So we had that last night. Let's take a look at the leaderboard here. I'm not going to say he's my guy, but Patrick Cantlay. Can't really stand him overall, but he had a decent start at at Pebble Beach. Right now he is not teeing off. He'll tee off in about 15 minutes. Cantlay, 8 under. Detry, the leader right now, at 10 under. Justin Thomas, who Pete Gregory was on, is at 6 under. Who else do we got here? Aberg's at 4 under, hasn't teed off yet. Denny McCarthy's at 4 under, hasn't teed off yet. But we'll keep tabs on that as we work our way through. The real news of the day, after we talked about Monahan yesterday here on the Lock Shop, Huss, your thoughts on the first and a conditional third if they win the Stanley Cup to bring in Sean Monahan? And is this a reaction to the Canucks going out and bringing in Lindholm?
Well, I think it is. I think, Dusty, it speaks to just the lack of available center help on the rental market. And, you know, it's the rent, it being a rental, I think, is key for the Jets, because when you look at their roster, all of their forwards are signed for next year, with the exception of Cole Perfetti, who will be getting a raise, whether that's on a bridge deal or whether it's on a long-term deal. And the other key thing about this trade is that Monahan's only making 1.9 this year, which in the Jets situation still gives them the cap flexibility to potentially add another player or two as we get closer to the deadline. Listen, anyone that watched the Jets over the last couple of weeks when Mark Scheifele was out saw what a massive hole there was at center when their number one guy wasn't there. And is Sean Monahan going to come in and be, you know, another Mark Scheifele? I think that's unrealistic to expect, but he's certainly going to help the Jets in a few areas. Certainly depth down the middle. We've heard from Rick Bowness just recently. It sounds like he's going to be playing with Nikolai Ehlers and Cole Perfetti right out of the gate in the top 6. It allows them to move Vlad Nemestikov down in the lineup or to other areas where he can help out, as he's kind of been a bit of a utility knife for the club. I will admit, I mean, I had a little bit of sticker shock when I saw the trade.
Yeah,
I mean,
fair enough.
I had heard that, you know, Frank Saravalli and some other guys floating out that Montreal was looking to get their second first-round pick for Sean Monahan, and I was sort of dubious to that. I didn't think that, you know, he would get them a first-round pick. But to your point about the Lindholm trade, the fact that the Canucks made that trade when they did, taking clearly the number one center off and paying the price that they paid to get him, I think in a lot of ways sort of set the market. And if the Jets were hoping they could maybe get Monahan from Montreal's second-round pick, which should be early in the first round, or early in the second round, I mean, probably a top 40 pick, I think there was, I think they were more willing to make that trade knowing that they could get the help now. And you talked about this. I mean, I think for both Vancouver and Winnipeg, there's a real want to make the most of what they've achieved so far this year and keep pushing to try to win that division. Much like the Pacific, if you can avoid the 2-3 matchup, you're in much, much better shape. So listen, I think it hits a few boxes for the Jets. The one thing Bonus is going to be the most happy about is that Monahan's a demon in the dot. Like, the Jets can't win a faceoff. Well, I mean, obviously they can win, but they don't win enough. I mean, they're routinely in the 30s, you know, game after game. Monahan's well into the high 50s in the faceoff circles. So he definitely crosses a few boxes. It's nice to get him in with an extra month as opposed to just right at the end. But as I said, I think I was a little surprised at the cost, but I think that is what the cost is right now for help down the middle, particularly in a market that seemingly does not have a lot of obvious trade chips out there on expiring deals.
I know you'll get a much better read on how to answer this next question on Winnipeg Sports Talk today, coming up here in about 50 minutes on the Winnipeg Sports Talk YouTube channel. But Huss, what's been the initial reaction, at least online, from Jets fans to this trade? And like I said, I mean, you're going to have a huge show today, so there'll be a lot of reaction to it. But what's the sense so far from fans?
Yeah, I mean, I think I think probably what I had, like, the Jets are definitely a better team today than they were yesterday. I just think that there maybe is a little hesitancy of the price that was paid. But listen, the Winnipeg Jets are planning on making a long playoff run. I mean, if that pick is 28, 29, 31, 32, obviously it will be worth it. But the good thing about it, I think from a Winnipeg perspective, is that they didn't have to dive into their prospect cupboard. And, you know, they've got Rucker McGroarty, who likely will sign after the year in Michigan. You've got Brad Lambert having a strong year in the American Hockey League. Elias Salmonsson in Sweden that plans to be here. And you know, as I mentioned, with the commitments that the team's already made to players, like next year, having some contributing young players on ELCs is going to be really important. So certainly people are happy that they didn't dive into the prospect cupboard. I just think that there's a bit of a sense that maybe it was a high price to be paid, but we say that every year at the trade deadline. If you want to go get your guy
all the time, right?
That you're looking for,
yeah,
you're going to do it. So living in reality, obviously that was the price that they wanted to pay. And could Chevy's notoriously patient. Wait. I think it speaks to the fact that the Winnipeg Jets wanted to get something done now to help them in the next month and not just rely on the last 6 weeks of the season for any trade additions to help them in the standings.
What about anything else? What do you think? Is there anything else here? Or is this it for the Winnipeg Jets?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, with the fact that Monahan is only making 1.9 and coming in, there certainly is the possibility. Like, we've been hearing that the price for Chris Tanev is a second-round pick and a prospect. I mean, the Jets would love to add Tanev. He's a guy that's got some history with the organization. I'm a little surprised, if you consider what Lindholm went for and now what Monahan went for. I would imagine with the interest in Chris Tanev, Calgary might be able to raise their price on that. Would they be in on Tanev? Absolutely, they would be. So I think you will probably see potentially a defense ad at some point and maybe one more depth forward ad. But I think that'll come closer to the 8th of March with maximizing what they can do cap-wise, getting ready for that last run. There's no doubt about it, though. The number one need of the Winnipeg Jets was somebody to come into that middle six, preferably into that second line and play center. Monahan's having a real strong season, helps him in the faceoffs, does check off a lot of boxes. And we'll see how it goes once he gets to Winnipeg, starting on Tuesday, I guess, when the Jets are back at it against Pittsburgh.
All right, so a couple of big stories, trades-wise, already in the National Hockey League this week. We'll get to the All-Star activities coming up here a little bit later on the Lock Shop. Let you know what we think about the skills competition. Let's say with the news, Los Angeles Kings. And now I'm very intrigued to see what Winnipeg thinks of PLD going in and basically coach killing Todd McLellan. Are you guys linking that, or you're trying to take the high road here?
We haven't taken a very high road all season,
No.
Dusty. I don't know why it would start now. I do feel for Todd McLellan. I mean, it's just stunning. I mean, you remember where this team was 20 games into the season?
Buddy, they were up here and the Oilers were way down here. You're like, my God, the Kings are scary. Like, it's amazing what's happened there. I don't get it.
Not only scary, like we basically were saying there's zero chance that Edmonton can catch these guys. Their best case scenario was maybe sneaking into a wild card spot. Well, you now see how foolish that was. I mean, the Edmonton Oilers are on a historic run right now, winning 16 in a row and barely losing in the last couple of months. And the fact of the matter is that Todd McLellan's out of a job, a very respected guy, tight with Rob Blake and Luc Robitaille. But it's quite clear that they felt that there was a need to make the move. But, they didn't have a guy ready to go. Like Jim Hiller is going to come in on an interim basis for the rest of the season, which I do find quite interesting. So this is not as much for the future. It's about salvaging the now right now. I am always somewhat dubious thinking that, getting a guy out, a coach like that is all of a sudden going to turn around a team. But we've seen plenty of new coach bumps already so far this season. And the Los Angeles Kings are a team that absolutely needs that new coach bump right now. I thought maybe that win in Nashville might have cooled the waters a little bit going into the break, but apparently not. It sounds like this decision was made beforehand. And LA looks to get back on a winning track coming out of the break with a new head coach and presumably a new vibe and feeling around the team. What do you think?
I don't know how it fell off that much. I mean, Todd McLellan done some really good things with the Los Angeles Kings, and you make a really good point that it's not like they had somebody else that they're hopping all over. I mean, an interim tag for a Kings team that is not in let's hope they can make the playoffs mode. I mean, look what the Los Angeles Kings and how good they looked and what they built and the trade that they made, trying to think that was like the piece that they needed to sort of take a further step in the West, and obviously it's backfired. So I don't know how much this is going to. This is going to change things for the Los Angeles Kings, but Todd's a nice guy. He's a good coach. Kind of tough to see him lose his gig today.
Yeah, well, and listen, this is gonna be like if PLD was under a lot of heat beforehand,
Oh yeah.
all this is gonna do is just fire it up. I mean, I guess one of the biggest jobs of this new coach is, and good luck to him, try and get through to Dubois, get a little bit more out of him on a regular basis. I think there's plenty of coaches that have tried that unsuccessfully so far this year because I mean, he's just such a frustrating player, and that at times he can be absolutely dominant. But far too often so far this year for the LA Kings, he has been kind of missing in action right now. And I saw one of the games that went into OT last week. I mean, he was barely on the ice at the end of the game. And that's not what they thought they were getting when they traded Velarde and Iafallo and Kapari to get him, as well as signing to that 8-year, $8.5 million contract, which is not even through the first year right now. So LA is going to be a really interesting team going forward. I mean, they used plenty of their assets, not necessarily picks, to get that trade done. They did trade the Montreal second rounder that they had. So I don't know how active they may or may not be from a Rob Blake perspective, but it certainly does put some more pressure on Rob Blake now that he's played the coach card. And he was the architect of the Dubois trade that so far is sort of blown up in the Kings' faces.
George in the nasty chat. You can text us 780-218-9999 or hit us up over on YouTube. If you're watching the Lock Shop right now, subscribe to Edmonton Sports Talk. We would appreciate it. George in the nasty chat says he went to Wendy's yesterday and got a double bacon and mushroom cheeseburger. It was amazing. And you know what? I feel like there could be a Wendy's partnership here with the Lock Shop because you talked about the portobello mushroom. And I grew up in a town that didn't have a Wendy's at the time. So when I went to university in Lethbridge, there was a Wendy's. And I'm telling you, I probably gained 40 pounds in my first year of university just because of Wendy's. We crushed Wendy's all the time. The triple burgers, you're 20, you're living like your best life. It's unbelievable. I love Wendy's still to this day. So I'd have a lot of time, especially with two markets, getting Wendy's on board with the Lock Shop. Right before lunchtime, it'd be perfect.
I mean, this is hashtag not spawn. It has been at the top of my fast food power poll for years, remains there. As I say, the only way they could probably permanently establish themselves as the number one without any challengers is to put the portobello mushroom melt on the menu all year long.
12 months a year.
It drives me nuts that, we enjoy portobello mushroom melt season and then it's over and we have to wait and wait because it is. I mean, I've said this on this show. We had a big conversation about it on WST the other day. The most elite fast food burger that you will get your hands on. So nice to see George jumped on that. I encourage all of you, if you're going by a Wendy's this weekend and you have not tried the portobello mushroom melt, I could not recommend something from an area that I do have a lot of experience with, and that is fast food burgers.
Spency 5 cents. He says Wendy's Asiago bacon chicken burger is deadly, and VR Montenegro was saying bring back the spicy baconator, which I don't think you have a problem with either as well. Big Maple Sports Card says my 25th birthday, we shut down Shanks and went to the Wendy's on 170th and ordered 25 JBCs to celebrate. Woke up in the morning with one in my hand and 7 wrappers on the floor. A greasy night. Man, that's good. I like that. Duck Dad's in this. Says back in the day, you could go to Wendy's and double the meat for $1. I live with 2 roomies who would order a triple patty and then double the meat. That ended that location at least. Get the triple, double it for $1. 3 more patties on there. You're taking down 6. Legendary move.
That's too much for me. I like the double is perfect. The
double is perfect. Yeah, the double is perfect.
I've never tried to tackle a triple. I think at that point, well, as I say, some people, if you want to go that way, you can. That's the one beautiful thing about Wendy's. They will allow you to do that. Going forward. Hey, one other thing, and I think Yuch was mentioning this. Yuchaz in chat. The best news today for hockey fans.
Yes.
NHLers going back to the Olympics for 2026 and 2030. And Dusty, this tournament that's going to happen next year.
The 4 nations?
I am so in on this. I know it's not the full-fledged world best on best that we'll get at the Olympics. But I mean, what do we really want to see? especially right now, having waited so long. We want to see Canada's best on one team, preferably playing against the U.S. Like the U.S.-Canada women's rivalry has been arguably one of the best rivalries in sports over the course of the last decade. We've been robbed of that on the men's side of things. And I guess it's going to happen in Boston and Montreal next year. I mean, those games are going to be phenomenal. Just getting a chance to put our best against their best and see how it goes. And it'll be an amazing precursor to the full tournament that takes place in the Olympics the following year.
I was a little sad this morning when it's like 4 nations. I was like, man, I want to see it all. But then when they announced that the Olympics are coming too, I mean, I do want to see that too. But like Canada and the U.S. and Sweden and Finland, I mean, if you're going to take 4 nations right now and throw them into a little best on best, I got a lot of time for those 4, man. It's going to be here. Let's play this fun game. It'd be tough to do. Because what'd you say, 2026 Olympics? That's not that far away. It's 2 years away. From an odds perspective, Canada a slight favorite heading into that thing?
I don't know about that.
United States?
I think so.
Oh, boy.
Like, and you know what? We could do a full hour on this, but like, listen, the U.S. talent up front is no joke. I mean, you think about Jack Hughes, Austin Matthews. I mean, they've got an absolutely lethal lineup with a lot of really talented young players that are making noise. I mean, Canada has their stars. I mean, McDavid, Makar, McKinnon, Crosby still playing at a high level. But listen, man, I mean, I don't think there's any other way around it. Our goaltending is going to keep people up at night, worrying. And with with these charges to Carter Hart and taking him completely out of the picture, like, where does that leave Canada in net? And you look at, I mean, the U.S. is going to be stacking Hellebuck and Demko and Ottinger. And like, who are we going?
Canada's rolling out Stuart Skinner. I mean, right now, I mean, Stuart Skinner might be in that mix, honestly.
For sure.
Yeah. Like,
and listen, no disrespect to Stuart Skinner, but I mean, he has not done it at a high level for a long time. Earlier this season was in sort of rough shape, but the goaltending in Canada is a huge, huge concern. Yeah. And we're not talking about just trying to get through a few weeks of the regular season in the NHL. We're talking about going up against best on best rosters in world competition. So, you know what? I think that if you probably, like, if Coolbet was putting a lineup on this right now of those games, I think it would be close to a pick 'em. But I also think Canada is inherently naturally favored in these things. I'll be honest. I think when you add in the goaltending, the USA might be a slight favorite. I'm sure some people will disagree. Let us know in the chat. But U.S. has the best goaltending, and Canada's is a nightmare right now as it stands.
It's a really good point. I think because of that goaltending, the U.S. would probably end up being the slight favorite. Yeah. Well, that'd be interesting to see how that plays out. I am looking forward to I mean, it's going to be great. The fact that we actually get to talk about Austin Matthews in the United States against Connor McDavid and Team Canada, Nathan McKinnon and Cale Makar and the Hughes boys. Like, it's good. That's going to be great. It's overdue, man. We got to have it. I cannot wait to see it. It's going to be a lot of fun.
And you know what? All those slow days in the summer, let's talk about who's on the team for another hour.
Oh, that's going to be – we're going to do that this summer. You know, that's going to be 2 summers we're going to get content out of there. So I think that would be pretty good.
Did they say when the 2025 thing is going to be taking place? Like, is that instead of the All-Star game? Or?
Yeah, well, I know Kevin Weeks, I think, said there will be no All-Star game next year, so throw it in middle of the season.
Mark, I'm thinking in 2026, I'm thinking Carter Hart would be the starter. Boys, I wouldn't hold out hope that Carter Hart's going to be wearing. Well, you think he's going to be playing for Hockey Canada?
No chance. So. Carter Hart will definitely never play for Hockey Canada again, I don't think. And 2026 is like when they expect that trial to actually get going. So I would probably take him out of the mix for the 2026. That is for sure. Did you watch? What'd you think of last night? You watched last night the All-Star draft and stuff?
You know what? I'll be honest. I didn't. It started earlier than I thought. Who was the first pick?
Kucherov went first. Nylander went to Matthews second.
Matters second because that number dropped, right? When we were talking about it yesterday on the lock shop, it was plus 350. When we got into the cool bet lines on WST, Nylander had dropped to plus 200. But again, I wasn't sure exactly how it was working with who had the first pick. So Kucherov goes first. And then now, again, I did not have Bjorkstrand because we were talking about the last pick taken. Like, I'm not sure. Like, once it got down to 4 and they all pulled out, like, they didn't really do a last pick. He was the last guy to pull his thing and join the team. So was he technically the winner of last pick at plus 450?
Look, I'm not sure the answer to that, but just suck it up and draft the last 4 guys. I mean, they're making millions of dollars. They're an NHL All-Star. The greatest moment in player draft history was Kessel sitting there and everybody having fun with it and he being a good sport about it. When they said on the broadcast, and it was a clunky TV event. I've watched the entire thing. It's just, I don't think you can ever make that into a good TV event. But when they're just like, well, come back, and the other 4 will be picked at the exact same time. I was just like, come on. Like, everybody's adults here. Finish the draft, you cowards. That drove me nuts.
Yeah, highlights of it was Tate McRae. She stole the show.
Yeah, she was good.
I think she's going to be a big part of. I think there's a lot of people being introduced to Tate McRae over this next little while, and she's a bit of a phenom. And then, of course, Bublé doing mushrooms. Like, that is an interview that will live on literally forever. Him tripping out, talking to Matt Larkin about fantasy hockey, and then just casually mentioning that he thought he was microdosing, but apparently not. That is not something I had on the bingo card last night when we were getting into NHL action. Oh, it was a push? Thank you,
It would have to be a push with the 4 of them just sitting there and then revealing it. Because technically, like, if that draft kept going the way that it was, I think McDavid's pick would have been last, and that was Thomas Hertl, but he revealed second last, so there's no way you could do anything but a push really there, I think, in that situation. So
now that we have these teams, I'll be honest, there's no way I can handicap any of these teams. It is cool though. If I'm not mistaken, all the Leaf guys are with Matthews. All the Canuck guys are with Elias and Hughes. And all the Avalanche guys are with McKinnon?
I'm trying to think. I mean, it kind of lost my interest partway through, but that would make sense. Yeah, that would make sense.
I'm pretty sure that's the case. I mean, the tournament winner is Matthews plus 255, McDavid plus 270, McKinnon plus 275, and the team Hughes plus 280. So, I mean, not a lot of difference between the 4 teams.
No.
And again, they are playing for, like, I know it's $1 million for the skills competition. Is there a prize for the?
Yeah, I know. Everybody's just been talking about the $1 million for the skill competition. I'm not too sure what that winning team gets in the All-Star. I really don't care about the All-Star little tourney there. Lindholm was not with the Hughes, but he's new, and that doesn't surprise me too much.
As I said, I'm far more interested in this skills competition tonight, and not only do we have the overall skills competition winner, but there are odds now for the various events that are going to take place for the first 6. Do you want to kind of dive into a few of these?
Yeah, we can, buddy. Yep, let's do it. They got the whole list there. It looks good.
Yeah, this is fun. So here are options, gang, for the fastest skater. Connor McDavid plus 110. Matthew Barzal plus 225. Cale Makar plus 400. Quinn Hughes plus 800. William Nylander plus 850. Like, is McDavid a lock for this? I'm kind of looking like I'll be honest. I realize he's not the favorite, and you can lose this. But Makar at 4 to 1 looks like pretty good
when
value
you laid those out, I was like, Cale Makar at 4 to 1 seems like pretty decent value. I mean, if McDavid's on his horse, sure. I mean, if he does want to win fastest skater winner because it's the true skills comp, sure. But I don't know. Cale Makar at 4 to 1 seems like pretty good value for me right there.
Well, the thing with McDavid is that, like, what makes McDavid the best in the world and just like on another level than most players is how fast he can go while doing incredible things with the puck.
Yeah.
But this isn't with the puck. This is just a straight up lap. So, in a time trial, I think a lot of the things that make McDavid the best in the world maybe don't come into this. I mean, if they had to be doing things with the puck while measuring their speed, there's no doubt McDavid probably wins this thing hands down. But Makar can burn. I'm kind of surprised that Barzal's there at plus 225. He must have logged a number earlier on that puts him right in the mix. But I think there might be a little sprinkle on Makar just as a value bet for the fastest skater, because you'd have to think, I mean, he can fly too, and he'll be right there in the mix.
Quick note on the fastest skater from Duck Dad. My account was in a tailspin anyway, so I dumped whatever was left in it on McDavid fastest skater, and I'll see where I'm at on Monday. Not a bad play. I mean, if you're going to put anything on Connor McDavid in the fastest skater category, I get it. Cale Makar at 4 to 1, I think that's a really nice number there as well. All right, where we want to go next?
Well, while we're talking about McDavid, why don't we go to the stick handling competition? Because he's also the favorite in that, although the number is much, much bigger. 5 to 1 for McDavid in the stick handling competition. McKinnon's plus 650. Cooch 7 to 1, Nylander and Dry plus 750, Barzal and Quinn Hughes 8 to 1, Pasta 9 to 1, Elias 9 to 1. Like, I'm definitely in on McDavid in this at 5 to 1. Like, I think that I'm actually surprised that McDavid is not a little bit lower. Like a 250 or plus 300. And I guess just because you have 9 players apparently competing in the stick handling competition, you've got a little bit more. But I mean, you watch this guy each and every day. I mean, who can do what he can do with the puck? Not many guys. And even though it's a very, very star-studded lineup in this, I got to lead McDavid in that at 5 to 1.
I'm looking right now at the Upper Deck stick handling, like how it's going to work.
Yeah, that's important.
Yeah, in this timed event, each competitor must demonstrate puck control while skating through a series of 20 pucks. So I'm assuming you have stick handle through the pucks. Navigate a series of cones while skating forwards and backwards, and then showing off a toe drag around a net front barrier before taking a shot on goal. So I'm trying to see where you would start. Oh, yeah, so you start boom, 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 through the 20 pucks, then up around a cone, back the other way, and then through. Yeah, I mean, Connor McDavid handles the puck so well in high speed. I mean, I love that number way more than I do just a straight-up fastest skater winner.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
At 5 to 1. Okay, I am locking that in right now. McDavid to win the stick handling.
Yeah, so it's up through the 20 pucks, and then forward up to the far left offside faceoff dot, backwards back to the other dot, forwards across, backwards back, and then up the middle, quick toe drag, and it. Yeah, I mean, McDavid at 5 to 1. I think that's a great play.
Okay. And again, if anyone in the chat has any thoughts on anybody outside of McDavid on that one, you let us know. As far as these other events, they've got odds on the one-timer competition. And to me, before I even looked at anything, I'm like, okay, that's got to be Draisaitl's event, right? Not surprising. Draisaitl 5 to 1, Matthews plus 550. But we do have to consider Pasta as well here. He's at plus 550. He can score. He can certainly shoot. I'm so used to Draisaitl nailing these one-timers from crazy angles. there's a reason why he's the favorite. I will say that. I think they've gotten the odds right on this. Whether he ends up winning it or not, I guess we'll see.
Here is the exact one-timer. I think it's important to kind of see what these things are.
Yeah.
With help from so with help from a designated passer feeding them pucks, so that would be McDavid likely for Draisaitl. From across the offensive zone, the competitor has 1 minute to shoot 3 one-timers from each of the 3 shot positions. So 9 shots in total. To account for an errant pass or 2, a player will only receive a maximum of 5 passes at each position in order to make the 3 shot attempts. Points will be awarded based on the placement of the shot within the net, with the corners being 3 points, along the top shelf being 4 points, and then in the middle of the net, it'll just be 2 points, and there's a barrier along the bottom. Yeah, I mean, Draisaitl is pretty deadly from some ridiculous angles. I do think with the shot that Austin Matthews has, I don't mind the play on Austin Matthews here either, though. But yeah, Leon is deadly in the one-timers. And man, if you go up top, if you can get top cheese on this, you're going to win this thing, because 4 points right up along the top from basically where the bars turn in. That'll be fun to watch, actually. I'm looking forward to seeing that. I like the way this is structured this year. This is good.
Listen, I think this is going to be a revolutionary event night for the skills competition. The fact that we've got the buy-in from the players, there's a significant prize. The fact that all these guys are out there doing, I mean, how much better is the fastest skater going to be with Makar and McDavid in it? I mean, this is definitely the highlight of the weekend. I don't think there's any doubt about it. And certainly it is from a betting perspective, this is the night when we want to go in. You can make an argument for a bunch of guys in this one-timer. I think I've got less of a strong lean like I do with McDavid and the stick handling, or the limited options we've got in the fastest skater. Like if you wanted a value play, I mean, maybe you look at someone like Elias at plus 650 or Nathan McKinnon at 7-1. But I have a hard time thinking it's probably not going to come from one of those top 3, including David Pastrnak.
All right, that's the stick handling competition. Seeing some line movement actually as we speak. I just watched the numbers light up. McDavid just went to a plus 450. So I don't know if some lock shoppers went and kind of hopped on that thing right away, but it literally just moved as I was looking at it.
Which event?
Stick handling. It moved to 450 plus 450 like 2 seconds ago.
We're line movers here, folks.
I was just gonna say that was really funny. Straight up, as we were talking about it, that line moved. All right, what else do we got? Passing competition.
Oh, we got it at a good time. Okay, what does it say for the passing?
Here, so this seems. I don't know. This looks like there's 2 different stages, I think. Let's see. Well, here, I'll go over quickly. Player starts behind the net, has 45 seconds to follow a set course and complete 11 passes aimed at 5 clusters of targets located along both sides of the rink. Each cluster includes 3 targets ranging in size and point value, 1, 2, or 3. A successful pass that hits that target earns the player that number of points. So just straight up the middle of the ice, you got targets on this side, you got targets on this side. There's 5 different clusters of targets, 3 targets, different sizes. And they got to roll through it. And did it say it was timed? Yeah, 45 seconds. They got 45 seconds to complete the course.
I mean, this is a free-for-all, basically. Are you surprised that Draisaitl's the favorite?
He is a phenomenal passer. He really is. Like some people will say, depending on who you talk to in town, that he's actually a better passer than Connor McDavid. So I'm not overly surprised that he is the favorite on here, but I do like the fact that like he's at plus 675 and there's like 5 guys before you get down to Matt Barzal, who's only at plus 775. Like that's a pretty tight group right there.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I think this will be as wide open an event of any of them. And I think the odds indicate that. Like this might be a one where I jump on listen, Matthews is 10-1 here. McKinnon's 9-1. We'll get to Elias Pettersson in a minute in one of the other ones. I mean, Kucherov. It's very hard to make a solid argument one way or the other for any of these guys because they're all so good. But again, basically, if you look at the odds, I mean, literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 players are within plus 675 to plus 800. So this is probably going to be, if you're betting on the passing competition winner, it does feel a little bit like throwing a dart, because you can make an argument for pretty much any of these guys as to why they'll be right there.
The other two, the NHL accuracy shooting appears to be just your regular accuracy shooting. And then the hardest shot contest would just be your regular hardest shot contest.
Well, look at the odds on the hardest shot.
Yeah. Does PD have just a hammer? Is that what this is? Like,
I guess. I mean, plus 120. Elias is plus 120. JT Miller plus 375. Makar 5-1. Matthews plus 550. And David Pasternak plus 600. I mean, Elias by far the biggest favorite in any of these events. I mean, there's nothing that has as big of a difference between number one, the favorite, and number two favorite that we do have in the hardest shot.
So those are the 6 events. Then how you end up winning this thing, Huss, is there's event 7 and there's event 8. In event 7, this will be the one-on-one versus the goalies. And I absolutely love this. In a rapid-fire spree of scoring chances, the skater has 1 minute to score as many goals as possible. Pucks are placed at 6 designated positions. The player cannot shoot before crossing the hash marks. The puck is dead once it crosses the goal line, inside or outside of the net. No rebounds allowed. Goals scored with the first 5 pucks lined up are worth 1 point each. Goals scored with puck number 6 are worth 2 points each. The old money puck. The player with the most points in 1 minute ends up winning the event. And there will be 8 guys in this event, and they draft the 8 goalies they will face, which is going to be awesome.
I am interested in how the drafting is going to work, because as we joked on, I'm not sure whether it was this show or my show, if the players are picking the goalies that they're shooting against, I'm thinking every single guy is saying, Cam Talbot, you get in the net.
Yeah.
Because that guy hasn't made a save in about a month or so. He's on an 11-game losing streak going into this.
And how about this? This is interesting. This is how they choose them. Competitors will choose the goalie they shoot against, selecting in reverse order, starting with the player who's in 8th until all goalies are assigned. So if you're rolling in the current standings in 8th, you'll get first pick of the goalies that you want to face. A player could not shoot against his own team's goaltender, and the netminder with the most saves will earn $100,000.
Neat.
Yeah.
I wonder, is there a thing for? I'd love to bet on the goalies here, but I don't think we've got odds for that.
Chaz says Hellebuck goes last in that draft.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the top 6 point getters from the first 7 events will compete in the final event. The 8th and final event is designed to test multiple skills in a timed environment. On the referee's whistle, the player takes off from center ice line with the puck, skating around the back of the net and approaching a series of 12 bridges in the neutral zone, 6 of which will light up green, indicating a player must guide the puck beneath them. The player will then encounter a pile of pucks and a trio of mini nets intended to test accuracy on the fly. Once the player scores in each of those 3 mini nets, there's a cone course to navigate puck on stick back through the neutral zone before taking an aim at a target in the net upon its conclusion. The clock stops once the player successfully hits the target with the puck. The player with the fastest time will win $1 million.
And that's why I bet on Connor McDavid to win this whole thing.
That's speed with the puck here.
Like the minute we start getting into anything that has to do with puck control, stick handling, timed events, and moving, I think that, to me, it's McDavid and Makar are those guys. And yep, there's Makar as the number 2 guy on this list. But it's 6-1. I have a hard time imagining that McDavid's not part of those final players in the obstacle race. And I think he's just sort of, I mean, with all due respect to all of the other stars, and it is the best of the best in this event, Connor McDavid is the one. And
him going through those bridges where they light up 6 pucks, and you can only, so there'll be 12 things you got to put the puck under, but 6 of them will light up green, and you got to go to those 6. I think he gets a little bit of a head start there if he's in the final. I think he would cruise through that thing.
Yeah. So, I mean, the overall skills competition winners, for those of you listening on the live stream, McDavid is 6-1. Makar 8-1. And then Pasta, Dry, McKinnon, Kucherov 9-1. Matthews, Elias, Barzal, Quinn Hughes 11-1. JT Miller and Willie Nylander 11-1. Yeah, well, listen, for all the reasons that we just laid out, I'm in on McDavid. My favorite bets, McDavid in the stick handling competition, and I believe we just moved that line because when we were betting it 10 minutes ago, it was plus 500. He's down to plus 450. And 6-1 on Connor McDavid in the skills competitions we've laid out with some of the events that I think are right in his wheelhouse. And let's face it, it's great for the NHL. If McDavid can win this event, which he certainly can, but if he does win it, I think it really sets a great precedent, having the best player in the world being the guy. And I hope they've got like a championship belt or something like that for this.
That would be cool. You know? Yeah, that would be cool. I mean, you're a wrestling guy, but I'm with you. Championship belt would make a lot of sense.
For sure. Something they can put his name on it beforehand, and then every year. Like, I hope that this format really clicks and sticks. Because it would be neat, like in 25 years, to look back if they're doing basically the same format, all the NHL greats that have won that. And tell you what, if you're starting it off by putting McDavid's name at the top of that list, I think it adds a major cachet to the event moving forward of guys that frankly want to be on that list too, beating their compadres and peers in a number of these different events and groups.
I'll say it. I am actually even more so after we broke down all these events. I am very much looking forward to this tonight.
Oh yeah.
I can't wait to watch it. I can't wait to watch it. I thought last night's thing was an epic fail, but I'm really excited for this tonight. I hope it's awesome.
Have you talked to how does Marsh feel about this? We
haven't gone over the events yet. We're actually driving out. He's got a hockey tournament this weekend at a small town outside of Edmonton. So we're hoping after school to get out to the hotel and checked in by the time this starts so we can watch it with some of his buddies. So
yeah, it's gonna start. It's gonna start early.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. Is it 5:00 our time, 6:00 your time? Or is it even earlier?
I think it's 5:00 our time, 4:00 your time.
Well, it's definitely could be a little bit too early.
I saw 6 Eastern as the time it started. Now again, it might not get going right away, but when you think about it, the format that they have with the amount of events, it is going to take a while to get through this. So I kind of think that that's why they're starting it relatively early. And again, these guys want to go out and hit the club as well. So you can't have them hanging around until 10:30, 11 o'clock at night when they make it happen. So starting it at 6, it's going to be a perfect little happy hour visit. I think I'm going to post up somewhere where there's a nice tap right beside me and make a few bets and dive in on the All-Star Weekend Skills Challenge.
Of course you are. Nasty Dielson is in on the Nasty Chat here and says, this is the first time I've been looking forward to a skills competition. Last year's nonsense set a low bar, though, and UChaz does confirm it starts at 4:00 our time here. And I love this one from Rod Z. Crosby skipped last night and was seen working stick handling drills. He was not there for the event last night. He's too busy stick handling, getting ready to see how it goes. Huss, obviously, we know what's coming up on Winnipeg Sports Talk today, my man. Big one for the Jets.
We'll be breaking down the trade. We are actually also having a special guest. Dennis Bayak is going to jump on. We hadn't talked
amazing.
To Dennis a little bit. So perfect time to talk to Dennis, get his thoughts on the trade, see how he's joined retirement, and get his thoughts on the Jets so far this season as someone that knows that team as well as just about anyone for all his years calling the games. Here's the thing, though. Crosby's not in the skills competition, so we don't have to worry. Even if he's there doing the skills drill, he's just basically trying to get better. That's what he does each and every day, getting ready for the event. And Sid's on Team McKinnon, right?
Yeah, he is 3rd overall pick.
And they also took Hellebuck.
Hellebuck's with McDavid.
Oh, he is?
Yeah, Hellebuck went to Connor McDavid, first goalie off the board. We figure he's trying to get all the inside tricks on how to score on Connor Hellebuck. That's better than our theory of he drafted Boone Jenner early because he's going to try to convince him to come to Edmonton via trade.
What do you think the cost on Boone Jenner would be?
I don't know. He's got 2 years left, less than $4 million. I mean,
he's the captain.
That's
too.
a first. It's a conditional, and at least 2 prospects, one of which would be viewed as very, very good, I think.
Yeah, I agree. And I still don't know whether I have questions whether, like, how much leash Yarmo's going to have to make deals. Like, it doesn't sound like he's long. Like, what a disaster 12 months for Yarmo in particular. I mean, you think about the Babcock fiasco going into the season. And now, I mean, reports that there are guys that just don't want to play, not for the coach, but for the management group right now. It's a long season right now. Oh, and Fantilli's out for 8 weeks too.
Yeah.
So nothing going right in Seabus.
All right, Huss. Well, you have a good show today. And trying to find my other mouse here. I'll get you taken off the screen. And then we'll catch up with you. You are around. Are you gone next week or are you around next week?
I'm here next week.
And then you're gone.
For sure through Thursday.
Okay. And
then Friday, I you know what? I'm gonna have to check and see when my flight is.
Okay.
I'm tentative. So I may have to give you my long-awaited and very much up in the air Super Bowl pick on Thursday beforehand. By the way, no change in the line. Money line still from yesterday, -128 for the Niners, +113 for the Chiefs, the best number we've seen on Kansas City all week. Spread is 2. Total has not moved either, 47.5, and that has not even been dented so far this year. And a little more money coming in. Well, it's still 28% on the Niners, 72% on the Chiefs right now. This is a fishy line, but as I say, Mahomes can overcome fishy lines, being an underdog, playing on the road.
Weather. This isn't a weather game, but he's done it all. He's done it all.
By the way, there's some great mic'd up stuff from the AFC Championship game that we're seeing NFL Films throw right now. Find it out on Twitter or the internet. So about a 7.5 minute just focus on Mahomes through the entire game, what he was saying beforehand, throughout. His energy is next level. And the Justin Reed on the defensive side of the football from the Chiefs, it goes to show you what this team is made of right now. They'll be ready to go. And Jed York's still bitching about a holding call in a Super Bowl 4 years ago. Tough look.
We'll see you later, buddy.
You got to have a great weekend.
Yeah, there you go. That is Huss. We will chat with him Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of next week. I think he's leaning towards taking the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, but we'll have to wait until Thursday to confirm that pick. We'll take a look at a few of the other things going on over at Cool Bets. Before we wrap, we got the oil stream coming up, so make sure you stick around for that here on TuneIn or at edmontonsportstalk.com. Just a few Cool Bet exclusives to get to. We'll bang those bad boys out. You can vote right now. Early vote is up for the EST draft that we just banged out. And it's looking like an early 2-horse race between Glue Guy and Tommy Gazzola again. How about this? Right now, 30% each for Glue Guy and Tommy. And then about 20% each right now for Eric and I, who might be in a, but it doesn't look like relegation's coming for anybody, but there could be a race to the bottom here as well today. But go on Twitter at Yag Sports Talk. Take a look at the 4 teams of captains that we put together. And Glue Guy was not happy with his draft, but he's doing pretty well right now. He's going to be pretty surprised with that, I think. He was pretty rattled by the time that we wrapped up that bad boy. AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am, a little bit of movement here as we've been working our way through the lock shop. Patrick Cantlay, last I checked, 1 under through 1, so he's at 9 under, just off the pace. Fitzpatrick is 4 under through 6 today. He's at 7 under. The French dude who won last week, he's 7 under. Aberg's 3 under through 2. What a start for him. He's at 7 under. Morikawa just getting off. He's at 6 under. JT's at 6 under. Fowler's at 6 under. Denny McCarthy 1 under through 3. We have him on that top 20 play. He's at 5 under. Scotty Scheffler's at 5 under. Need Jordan Spieth to get going here. Spieth was, I think, even yesterday. So we'll see if he can kind of get himself into the mix here as well. Winnipeg Sports Talk will be coming up right away. If you're not yet subscribed to the Winnipeg Sports Talk channel, feel free to go and do that as well. And if you're not yet subscribed to Edmonton Sports Talk, we would love for you to help us out over there as well. As for some exclusives tonight's NBA exclusives, 3 of them up right now. Why so serious? Jokic, 27, 9, and 13. 27 points, 9 assists, 13 boards. That's plus 475. 3 for 3 at plus 365. James Harden, Klay Thompson, and Booker to all record at least 3 deep balls. And then the Chamberlain, these 4 guys all have to score 25 plus. Edwards, Steph, Durant, and Kawhi Leonard. The 4 plays there. I know I missed on Durant. Was it earlier this week? I like him tonight to hit his over total. And then Curry and Edwards in there as well. Those are available right now. And as far as the NHL goes, we kind of broke down the All-Star weekend. Season bets do remain up as well. And we did lay it out yesterday, both on 2 guys and here on the Lock Shop. The Edmonton Oilers over 106.5 points. They just need to get the same amount of points in their next 37 that they've had in their last 27 to hit that over 106.5. So I suggest hammering that bad boy right now as well. Oil Stream coming up here on Edmonton Sports Talk. We'll be back with the Lock Shop again on Monday as it is Super Bowl week, and we'll be taking the Lock Shop to Vegas on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of next week as well. Oil Stream, what are we going to discuss today? Another big trade in the National Hockey League, not involving the Edmonton Oilers. What's Ken Holland doing? Is he just sitting on his hands? We'll get into that coming up here on the Oil Stream. Don't go anywhere. Make sure autoplay's on YouTube. Thank you very much for joining us today on the Lock Shop. Good luck tonight if you're betting that skills contest, and we will talk to you on Monday.